Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to all of you on this India-Iran International Webinar 2021, organized by Envoy Excellency Magazine in association with the Embassy of the Islamic Republic of Iran, New Delhi, India. My name is Nitesh Gautam. I am consulting editor at Envoy Excellency Magazine, and I am also a moderator of this webinar. And before going further, let me give you a quick brief about our Envoy Excellency Magazine. Envoy Excellency Magazine is an international monthly magazine backed by DN Media Group. It specifically covers diplomatic community worldwide, foreign, national affairs. Envoy Excellency exclusively cover political, international affairs, culture and tourism. The magazine is characterized by its high quality analytical articles, research on event national and international level. Envoy Excellency reach out to the ministries, diplomatic missions, multilateral chambers, corporate houses all over the world. And today we are here at this webinar to discuss on the topic boosting India-Iran relations and investment opportunities between India and Iran in context of trade, tourism, gas and oil. And we will also do an e-launch of the special collectible edition on Iran published by Envoy Excellency Magazine. And India and Iran relation span millennium, marked by the meaningful interaction the two countries shared in their till 1947 and share several common features in their language, culture, tradition. India's subcontinent and the Persian Gulf has strong commercial, energy, culture, and people-to-people links. Further, it is my honor and pleasure to introduce you with our chief guest, His Excellency, Mr. Ali Chegni, Ambassador of Iran to India. And now I would like to introduce you all panelists who are participating in this webinar. Ambassador D.P. Srivastava, former Indian Ambassador to Iran, Czech Republic and Libya. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
And Mr. Hosmuddin Abbas, Deputy International Affairs, Tehran Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mine and Agriculture. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
And Mr. Shankar Narayanan, General Manager, International Department, UCO Bank, India. Welcome, sir. Okay. And Mr. Rao, General Manager, Trade Finance, IDBI Bank Limited. Welcome, sir.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And Mr. Arun Kumar Gupta, former Managing Director, Indian Port Global Limited. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
And now I'm not going to take too much time. And let's start the discussion. Over to you, His Excellency.
Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Good afternoon to my good colleagues, all of you from IDBI, from UCO Bank, Ambassador Srivastava, my good friend, Mr. Arun Kumar, my good friend, and very well known in eastern part of Iran, in Chabahar. His name is just close to Chabahar. Mr. Narayan, how are you, Ambassador? So this Ms. Dr. Seema, my real sister, and she's very, very, and Mr. Hallaj from
Good afternoon,
Iran
Excellency.
Chamber of Commerce. This is my pleasure. How are you, Dr. Seema?
Thank you, Excellency.
So this is a very good opportunity to share the ideas and views regarding the two neighboring and friendly country of India and Iran as very, very old friend, and we can say very, very old brothers and cousins. So no need to mention about the importance of relationship between the two countries, and no need to even speak about the importance of connectivity and closeness of the two countries, importance of people-to-people contact, the role of banking system and universities, people-to-people contact. All of these are well known to everybody, fortunately to the audience in this webinar. let me thank all of you and sharing some of the idea regarding the bilateral trade between two countries, not only trade, but also connectivity that Mr. Kumar will brief us because he was there and he's well known about that. Mr. Srivastava also will talk about that. Friends from both YOCO and IDBI, they will brief us. And of course, Dr. Seema, she will brief us about from the university's view. Anyway, I think Iran and India, as is clear, have complementary economy to each other. So that's push us to phase of working to not be competing each other. We are producing whatever India need, and India producing whatever we are importing and need. So we can complete each other. That's why I can say within 6 months, we could push in 2018, we could move from almost 13 billion to more than 17 billion within 6 months. That happened. So that means we can have such a big amount of trade up to 30 to 50 billion dollars without having very big investment. That means normal trade, normal investment, normal shipments, and all economic affairs between the two countries is possible because the possibility there is. Only we should manage this. So even I can say, according to my knowledge, non-oil bilateral relation have been promoted during the imposed sanction against the two relationship. It is very important because I remember in 2018, almost our trade was 13 billion. And from this 13 billion, 11.2 was Iranian oil export to India, and $1.8 billion was from India export to Iran. And it was very low. Right now, I can say around $5 million without oil and without some sanctioning goods. We have such a bilateral non-oil goods. This is very important. And I have to insist on the role of both YOCO Bank, IDBI, and Chabahar activity. So economic relationship between the two countries going on, and we are on the rail to move very fast. So fortunately, by new era of working and new possibility that we see, very good perspective that we see, we can say hopefully to have our relationship to be promoted and passing $20 billion to $30 billion in short term. So I'm very hopeful. I think non-oil goods between the two countries is especially agro product that we used to import from South America and some other countries right now is imported from India. The medicine and pharmaceutical between the two countries are exchanged. Some non-oil and non-metal goods between the two countries are going on. Investment, not bad, but still we are expecting to be much more between the two countries. I hope Indian banks can open their branch at least in Chabahar, and we are very hopeful to our new branch of bank in Pasargad will be open in Mumbai that facilitate both sides to complete each other. So we see a big demand from India to work with Iran and from Iran to work with India. So such a big efforts that exist and potential that exists force us to not leave these opportunities goes wasting. I think your idea in Chamber of Commerce, in different university and non-universities in research area can push the minds that they are looking for some good opportunities regarding energy. I think Iran still, we can claim that will be the most important and much more secure place for India for long-term working together, as India is a big consumer of energy, even in both gas and oil products. So, and non-goods also, and final goods and semi-final goods can be promoted. So rupee arrangement and mechanism, real rupee mechanism was helping too much, and still we believe that can push the trade between the two countries directly and by barter also. So the role of the two banks are very important for us, thanks to the MD of both banks that helped too much, and they are still working hard and briefing the merchants and the authorities in India. So civil agreement and commercial matters also, that will be the mutual legal assistance also. It is on the way to be signed very soon. That also will solve a lot of problem and remove a lot of barrier that exist sometimes and bothering the businessman between the two countries. By this arrangement, we will see very good facilities for both sides to not face problems. And PTA, I mean the professional tariff agreements also, it is in the last phases. That also will push the trade between the two countries very fast, because right now there is some big tariff between the two countries, and it is not convenient for the two countries. So we can have, this depend on the Ministry of Trade in India and Iran. Both of them are working on that to remove a lot of tariffs, or at least reduce it. So that also help the commerce between the two countries. And some other Chabahar free zone. It is not, Mr. Kumar will tell us about that Chabahar. It's not only a port only for connectivity. Chabahar is a big area and big potential, because from Macron areas, almost more than 1,000 kilometers almost in south will be covered by Chabahar. And the latest privilege that given by India and Iran to the people to move through this port to send the goods to Central Asia and Afghanistan, that will be also a good intensive for everybody to come, not only for connectivity and sending the goods, producing joint ventures and export and re-export. This is also one of the good, that Chabahar as golden gate for both India and Iran to be connected to the rest of the world through each other. And some very good incentive also and initiative can be done, not only in Chabahar area, in different free trade zone between the two countries. I mean, maybe some joint venture in India, in free trade zone area in India and in Iran, both of them, they can have very good cooperation. I think very high and goodwill exists between the authorities of the two countries regarding not only Chabahar, but also the trade between the two countries. We don't see any limit to work with India. So, and only we should find out the points how we can connect the businessmen, investors, and joint ventures making to be done. And of course, I can say there is some problem regarding some import sanction from third parties. That also will be removed. I'm very hopeful, and the future is very clear. Thank you very much. I will be there and will be using and profiting from the views of good friends. Thank you very much.
Thank you, His Excellency, for enlightening us with your views and opinions on this topic. And let me introduce our first panelist, Ambassador D.P. Srivastava. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me this floor. And Ambassador Chagni has covered a very broad spectrum, which makes my job very challenging. India-Iran relations go beyond trade and investment. We have a historical relationship, a cultural relationship. I come from the city of Lucknow, which has a historical relationship with Iran. Urdu, which was developed in my city, and it's a mix of Arabic, Farsi, Hindi. It was my privilege to be Indian ambassador to Iran from 2011 to 15. Though it was a very difficult period, this was a period when Iran was under sanctions, and yet we found a way of not simply doing business, but actually improving Indian exports. We had to first devise a banking channel, and once this was done, for this I give credit to UCO Bank especially. I'm glad that IDBI has also come forward now. This gave a boost to Indian exports and at the same time kept our oil imports going. Iran has a diversified economy. Oil accounts for just about 30% of GDP, and it is this diversification which has helped Iran to withstand difficult situations successfully. It has highly educated intelligentsia. Number of students in universities, tertiary education is very high. I have been to most of these universities. Now, not many people in India realize that Iran, despite the sanctions, ran a balance of trade surplus and a current account surplus. In India's case, it is difficult to imagine because we always had a deficit on both these accounts. Iran does have a budget deficit, but that is because a lot of the money is held up on account of sanctions. This is a temporary phase. So what this points out is that you have a partner which has purchasing power, and therefore you can exploit that market. Iran also sits in a very important geographic area. This can provide us connectivity both to Central Asia and Russia. And during my term, we explored International North-South Transit Corridor, and the first pilot shipment was sent from Bandar Abbas to Amirabad port and to other points in Iran. This still needs to do more work. Chabahar also, I had the privilege of negotiating the MOU. I was given extension post-retirement to complete the negotiations, and Gadkari ji came during my time to sign the MOU. Contract, of course, was negotiated and signed after my departure. Now, INSTC, if I can just highlight the importance. Central Asia, 5 Central Asian republics together, they have a global import bill of $67 billion. India's exports are barely 2 billion. So they account for less than 2% of their imports globally. There's a huge scope to expand it, but this cannot be done unless connectivity is improved, and that is where INSTC comes in. Chabahar can also be part of INSTC. Chabahar has a more direct importance for us. It is the shortest route to Afghanistan. And Chabahar also has its own free trade zone. Now that facility has been extended to this port also. And this free trade zone can be a base for large number of industries. In fact, that was the original plan of the Iranian government, which has been I think it will take some time, but it will be developed. Iran is ideal for Indian investment in energy-intensive industries because the price of gas is much lower. I remember during my time, at some point, we were offered, I think it was less than 1 rupee per MMBTU, 84 paisa per MMBTU. And then the Iranian side increased the price, but even with that, it is very reasonable. And Iran has the largest gas reserves in the world, largest or second largest gas reserves in the world. So it can be a base for industries like urea. India is an agricultural country, and we need fertilizer. We've been importing it. We have also imported it from Iran. Iran also has been a market for India's agro exports. In fact, 60% of India's exports to Iran consisted of agricultural commodities. This included rice, barley, and also a lot of sometimes sugar and tea. Yes, it was one of the largest market for Indian tea. And this is something which can be developed further. But we need to work out a banking channel. And this is where the role of the UCO Bank and IDBI comes in. Iran is now at a very critical juncture. It is at a cusp. And with the new administration in US, there are possibilities. It will take some time, but I'm convinced that Iran has a golden future. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your views and opinion. And now I invite our second panelist, Mr. Hasmuddin Abbas, Deputy International Affairs of Tehran Chamber of Commerce.
Good afternoon, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Gautam, the Honorable Consulting Editor of Envoy Excellency Magazine, His Excellency Mr. Chegrini, the Honorable Ambassador of Iran in India, His Excellency Mr. Srivastava, the former Ambassador of India to Tehran, distinguished attendees, it's a great pleasure for me to attend and speak at this webinar. First, I would like to take this opportunity to appreciate Envoy Magazine for holding this event. I also would like to seize the opportunity to thank His Excellency Mr. Chegrini for their great efforts toward the consolidation of our mutual relations. As you are well aware, the two friendly and neighboring countries of Iran and India have very strong and deep relations with each other, sharing common culture and historical background, and enjoy very good and sound business and economic relations. As it can be said that it's so rare in the world that you can find two countries with such deep and strong ties. The government and people of India have always been by the side of the government and people of Iran, especially during the difficult period of imposed sanctions. And I'm confident the Iranian people will never forget their true friends along with their valuable support and assistance during this difficult period of time. Enhancement of trade and economic cooperation with neighboring and partner countries has always been emphasized by the Iranian government as the general policy, and in this regard, Iran considers India as an important partner. That's why they have been focused on bilateral, regional, and international cooperation, and the big number of the business delegations and visits have exchanged between the two countries is the fact that shows how strong the relationships are. Tehran Chamber of Commerce, with more than 20,000 active members from all fields of activities and a share of almost 40% of Iran's GDP, with the cooperation of its counterpart in India, can play an important role in promoting trade and business relations and to help to remove the existing barriers between the two sides by the chain of actions. For instance, as promotion of Shahid Beheshti Port seminar held by the presence of His Excellency the Honorable Ambassador of India, Mr. Dharmendra, as well as a considerable number of ambassadors and high-ranking officials, at Tehran Chamber of Commerce, which was a very fruitful event. As Excellency Chegini just mentioned, the economics of Iran and India are complementary to each other in a wide scope, and despite the fact that India is Iran's strategic partner, the volume of trade is not satisfactory with considering the huge potential of two sides. In this regard, the existing problems should be considered and eliminated as much as possible. There is no doubt that the most important obstacle of expanding bilateral relation is absence of banking channel through which the both sides business people can perform transactions safely. We hope that the complication arising from absence of financial and banking channels can be solved by the help of governments and the relevant authorities. We believe this gap can be mitigated by using national currency mechanism by the two sides private sector, which could definitely facilitate two-way financial transactions. Initiatives in finalizing the Preferential Tariff Agreement or PTA, according to the latest list of products exchanged between our governments, can assist to broaden the mutual economic ties. We believe launching Chabahar port as a crucial economic hub of the region can lead to further bilateral and international cooperation of Iran and India, which will lead to rise, prosperity and economic growth, as well as stability and peace in the region. For this purpose, establishment of joint sea lines, granting more tax exemption for both sides business people, as well as establishment of joint venture and project based on capabilities and technical engineering and economic facilities, whether accomplished mutually or with cooperation of third country, can be so beneficial for both countries. In addition to all, exchanging of trade delegations and holding various exhibitions, seminars, and events can help to develop the bilateral relations. Ladies and gentlemen, looking ahead in current circumstances with the removal of barriers, I'm very hopeful that the volume of relations between the two countries, which has reached to a maximum of $14 billion in recent years, will increase to $30 billion in the future. Furthermore, given the fact that there is a powerful Persian community and a large number of Iranian university students in India, as well as considering the huge potential in tourism industry between the two countries, it can be said that the cultural atmosphere is also ready for expanding our mutual economic relations. So Tehran Chamber of Commerce stands ready to support in all means and to conduct negotiation and expand cooperation with counterparts from India, Embassy of Islamic Republic of Iran in New Delhi, and the Embassy of Republic of India in Tehran for facilitating trade, solving the existing problems, and concluding cooperation in all possible beneficial business area. In conclusion, I would like to take this opportunity to once again express my thanks to His Excellency Mr. Chegini, Excellency Mr. Dharmendra, and also the esteemed authorities of Envoy Excellency Magazine for holding webinar and their great efforts toward consolidation of our mutual relation. And I wish all success and blessing for all attendees. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And now I invite our next panelist, Mr. Shankar Narayanan, General Manager, International Department, UCO Bank. Over to you, sir.
Honorable Excellency, Ambassador of Iran to India, respected Ali Chegini ji, Honorable Excellency, former Ambassador of India to Iran, Libya and the Czech Republic, respected DP Srivastava ji, respected dignitary, Mr. Sheshmuluddin Abbas, Deputy International Affairs, Tehran Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, respected dignitary of Envoy Magazine, Mr. Gautam, respected Mr. Arun Kumar Gupta, ex-MD, IPGL, respected Dr. Seema Baidya, dear fellow banker, Mr. Rao, GM Trade Finance IDBI Bank, dear customers, patrons, ladies and gentlemen, A warm good afternoon to all of you. I am actually delighted to address this gathering along with all the eminent panelists here. Let me reminisce actually our interaction with Excellency Ambassador had been really very fruitful. We have never seen such a dynamic ambassador actually, who always actually think how to foster trade. Many times we were invited to the embassy, and we had threadbare discussions as to how to chalk out various plans to bolster trade. He also had visited various places, and we have shared the dais also along with him for promoting the trade. And when I talk of our ex-ambassador Srivastava sir, let me tell, he was one of the most unlikely bureaucrats. But for him, possibly this mechanism would have been difficult to be conceived, because he, along with other stakeholders at that point of time, from Iran as well as Government of India, had put a lot of brainstorming and even nudged many of us into forming this kind of a mechanism, rupee payment mechanism. He had also visited our bank, I remember actually, and discussed various pros and cons about how this mechanism can be facilitated. I'm really delighted to share the occasion along with him. Now, coming to this mechanism, this was conceived in 2012. At that point of time, there were many exporters whose funds were getting stuck, as well as we had to remit our oil dues to Iran. This mechanism helped tide over all those difficulties. And till this date, UCO Bank has settled 3.5 trillion rupees of trade with Iran. Apart from this, we have opened our representative office in Tehran. We are also actively partnering with IPGL on the Chabahar project. And I am sure this partnership is going to be fruitful and will open great vistas ahead for trade fraternity. And as far as Chabahar and Bandar Abbas, they are very crucial ports, as both excellencies have already described. For the Central Asia trade, as well as trade with other landlocked countries, these ports are going to be very, very crucial. And I'm sure my fellow banker also is there with me. Definitely, we will be able to provide a solution from the banking side for the trade to flourish in this region. And as far as opening a branch in Chabahar, we definitely can explore, not only in Chabahar, in many other potential areas where actually we can facilitate trade that can be thought of. And opening of branch of Pasargad in Mumbai, that also could be a welcome gesture, and it can bring in further ease of business in the trade. There are actually some difficulties now, as it is my colleague on the board, Mr. Rao, also will agree that balances are coming down, rupee balances, but we are sure that some kind of mechanism will be framed. Non-oil imports, both of the banks, UCO Bank as well as IDBI Bank, both are actually trying to increase non-oil import business, and money is also trickling in, some money is also coming in. But again, the kind of volume that is required for exports to flourish from India, we require a large amount of funds. And I believe that actually with concerted efforts from both the government, some kind of breakthrough can happen.
I don't know. Yes,
trade will further continue. And between India and Iran, there is a great partnership. We are all culturally also linked. And definitely, I have the stern belief that with all the support of stakeholders and the dynamism of the bureaucrats like excellencies on the official side, definitely breakthroughs can happen, and there is a great future ahead for both the countries' trade to flourish. Thank you so much, and thanks Envoy Excellency magazine for giving us this opportunity. And before concluding, I would like to greet all the Iranians a happy festive season on the occasion of Nowruz. Thank you once again, and my best wishes to all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for your lovely views and wishes on Nowruz festival. And now I invite our next panelist, Mr. Rao, General Manager, Trade Finance, IDBI Bank Limited. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. His Excellencies, Mr. Ali Chegni, former Ambassador, Sri D.P. Srivastava, sir, and Mr. Abbas from Tehran Chamber of Commerce, Atul Kumar Goyal, sir, Mr. Arun Gupta, sir, and Mr. Shankar Narayan, my colleague, UCO Bank, and to Dr. Seema, Madam, a warm good evening to all of you, and especially thanking the Envoy Excellency for organizing this wonderful gathering, which I'm sure contribute for not only development of Indo-Iran trade, but also contribute for further strengthening the age-old Indo-Iran relationship. At the outset, profusely thanking His Excellencies Dr. Ali Chegni for extending this invite to IDBI Bank to be a part of this eventful event. Friends, you are aware in the past, Indo-Iran trade was touching the peaks of nearly 20 billion per annum a couple of years back. Without any, as our ambassador articulates, it's a plain trade, only exports and imports, without touching the core sectors, investments, joint ventures in various potential sectors between India and Iran. That shows huge, enormous opportunities, business opportunities between both the countries. Further, let me say without any hesitations, though we are facilitating global trade among many countries, the collaboration and cooperation which we have observed between India and Iranian countrymen is fantastic and unmatchable. This may be because of rich heritage and DNA linkages between both the countries. I can also see a lot of and aspiration to multiply the trade between both the countries from both the sides. Being a banker, I'm dealing with both Indian side and Iranian side, many of our brothers and sisters. There's a huge aspirations which I'm sure will give some pathway to ease out all these present challenges which we are coming across. You are all aware, as on date, there are a few challenges because of sanctions. Of course, thankfully, the rupee payment mechanism, which was evolved with the kind grace of Srivastava sir in the past, which is able to cater to some extent the development of Indo-Iran trade. But again, as my colleague Mr. Shankar Narayan told, due to this trade imbalance between exports and imports, presently a lot of challenges we are going through. There's a huge demand of trade, but due to the lack of balances, there is some delays in the trade settlements, and we are not able to support the prospective trade. But both the banks, we are assuring whatever is the best possible support. We are promoting this non-oil permissible goods like dry fruits, pista, saffron, corporates, whatever allied medical inputs we are supporting, and we are able to collect some kind of funding to continue the trade from the perspective of the bilateral trade. This is some extent addressing the Wastra funding challenge. However, as a banker for more than 2.5 decades, I firmly believe that trade in home currencies with multiple advantages. It will give the traders, it will insulate them from the exchange fluctuations. It enables us not to depend on the third currency countries. I'm sure with the support of all stakeholders in the days to come, both the countries will flourish in this home currency country trade without any dependency on the third party currency. We should also explore possibilities of both foreign direct investment, that is, the Iranian side will come and invest in core sectors in India. And again, versus direct investment, that means Indian entrepreneurs will go to Iran and establish the units there. We should also explore this kind of joint ventures, which is, of course, it is in the takeoff stage due to various challenges. However, we should strongly believe in the home currencies. We should explore promoting this kind of joint ventures as articulated by His Excellencies Dr. Chegini sir. And another suggestion, what I would like to give in this forum is, there are many requests coming for setting of net of exports and imports. That also we should explore by discussing with both the governments. If somebody is importing X item, somebody is exporting Y item, we should set off to avoid the payment challenges. And another important tool which I would like to suggest is barter system. We should evolve value bucketing for at least major commodities. We should identify some anchoring institutions and strive for some kind of barter system trade, which I'm sure in Europe to some extent it's happening. I suggest to explore that kind of opportunity to continue the trade in a big form. And further coming to tourism industry, from the magazine, I understand that more than 60,000 plus customers from both the countries have visited as tourists or on pilgrimage. I'm sure huge opportunity, and in the days to come, once the pandemic is completely defeated, the tourism industry also will flourish based on the statistics. And students, I'm able to see a lot of students from India, they are going to Iran, and vice versa. From Iran, a few students are coming and studying in Pune, Bangalore, many places. That collaboration is already on in terms of education and tourism. So Chabhar Port, as my colleague said, we are facing some kind of challenges from the different challenges, which myself and Mr. Shankar Narayan, we are striving hard to come out of these challenges to promote trade through Chabhar via CIS countries, because their home currencies settlements are not prevalent. I'm sure jointly we'll succeed shortly, which will multiply the trade through the gateway of Chabhar. I'm confident, friends, as per the legacy and deep-rooted friendship between both the countries, in the days to come, with all the stakeholder support and with a mutual collaboration, the Indo-Iran trade will prosper as a multi-dimensional in a diversified areas. I do not have any hesitation in this. And on behalf of IDBI Bank, we are supporting, we are assuring the best of support. We will use all our experience and extend the best support possible cooperation to all the brothers and sisters of both the countries. And I take this opportunity to thank you, all the dignitaries, for giving me these opportunities, especially Envoy Excellency. And Navaroj, best wishes to all my beloved Iranian brothers and sisters, His Excellency Dr. Chegini sir. Thank you one and all. Thanks for once again giving this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rao, for your remarkable words on the topic. Now I invite Mr. Arun Kumar Gupta, former Managing Director, IPGL. Sir, over to you.
Thank you. In the name of God, the merciful and the most benevolent. Good afternoon. Salam to everyone. I would first of all like to thank His Excellency Mr. Agai Ali Chigni for the opportunity given to share my views today. Also, Ambassador Mr. D.P. Srivastava, who has been my mentor, and of course, my colleagues from the banking sector and other friends present. Well, I know I am expected to talk on Chabad Port. That is what everyone is expecting. Well, I'll talk about Chabad. But before that, I see no one has spoken about other things. Yes, great people have spoken, but no one has spoken about the tourism. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
Okay. I was not getting the confidence. Okay. I may be permitted to talk a little bit about tourism first. Then I'll come to Chabad. Well, Iran is a beautiful country. Most of the people present here are Indians. I would earnestly request them, please visit Iran. It's a beautiful country, friendly people, and not at all expensive. It suits our pocket. God has gifted Iran with natural beauty. You land in Tehran, the Alborz mountain range greets you, and Damavan peak with always snow on it is beautiful. There are so many palaces in Tehran. I would name Gulistan Palace, which is soaked in history. The big bazaar is there. The city has got so many parks, the Tabiat Bridge. And of course, if you come in winters, we have a trek to Tochal, Dizin, Shamshek for skiing. You can go northwards. The Chalus Road Drive is beautiful. You reach Caspian Sea, see the pebbled beach there, take a cable car to Namak Abrud, Ramsar, Naushad, all are so beautiful, lush green. Go a bit westward towards Bandar Anzali. We have the lagoon there, as we call backwaters, Murdab. These all places are worth seeing. And near Anzali, we also have a place called Kandavan. How in ancient times, people used to stay in mud houses. Further west, we have Tabriz, Astara, which is akin to Switzerland. We have Alps mountains there, I could virtually say. Coming to central Iran, Isfahan is another beautiful city there. The square there, Nakshe-Jahan Square, is amazing. And Sioso Pul on the river is really mesmerizing at night. Kashan is a city famous for roses. We have rose water there. We have Finn Garden, which has again got a lot of history. Prime Minister Amir Kabir was assassinated there, and it's also famous for grapes. And let us not miss the Ali Sadr caves in Hamadan. I would rate that as #1 tourist place in Iran. Of course, we have Persepolis in Shiraz, which has history of Persian Empire. Shiraz also has tomb of great poet Hafiz. In the east, we have the Urmia Lake, and in the west, the holy city of Mashhad. And in south, you can go for a holiday to Kish Island. And now I come to the beautiful city, port city of Chabar, which is located in southeast on the Makran coast. Chabar is not only a port, it is also a tourist attraction. It has got a ping pond, and if you travel eastward towards the Bires village, you will see mud mountains, as we call them, Mars Mountain. The view is absolutely surprising. We also have mud volcanoes around Chabar. And the best time to visit Chabar is in the month of December, January. It is really beautiful, clear skies and pleasant weather. Well, this is a plea to visit Iran. Enjoy the beauty of Iran. A lot of people have spoken about trade, the challenges. I agree that the bilateral trade has suffered to a great extent because of some challenges, but these challenges will not remain forever. Our overall bilateral trade has gone down. However, it is nice to see that non-oil trade is picking up. Unless there is trade, there is no business for port. So I would love that the trade between the two countries should further grow. Exports from India are taking place to Iran. Soybean meal, rice, as Ambassador Srivastava said, raw sugar, tea, but I think Iranians are more enjoying Ramsar tea than the Indian tea, and pharmaceuticals, etc. Yes, trade imbalance is there, which has to be addressed. Iran, as we all know, has got fourth largest reserves of oil and second largest reserves of gas. Cooperation in this area has a lot of potential. Well, whatever challenges are there, we are finding our ways and we are overcoming them. Coming to Chabar Port, I have been privileged to be associated with this project since May 2015. Well, Ambassador Mr. D.P. Srivastava is the architect of this project. As he said, that his tenure was extended so that the MOU could be executed in May 2015. And that MOU was the base for the contract which was signed in presence of the highest authorities of both the countries in May 2016. Support given by everyone was immense, and IPGL could take over operations at Shahid Bahishti Port of Chabar in December 2018. Well, the port is doing very well since then. It's a greenfield port, and any new port will have its gestation period. But I can tell you, the port has immense potential to be a transit hub. As has been mentioned earlier, is gate to all the nations. It is indeed a golden gate. It has great connectivity, proximity to west coast of India, proximity to Afghanistan, and it has already been agreed that Chabar Port will be now part of International North-South Corridor. Once that materializes, we will have access to CIS countries and Russia. Well, Chabar Port can do wonders if banking issues can be sorted out, we can give confidence to the trade that transactions can be done. It is a deep drafted port, 16 meters draft. It is the only oceanic port of Iran. No congestion, 1.3 kilometers of berth length. As already mentioned by Ambassador Mr. D.P. Srivastava, the port has been integrated with the free zone. Discounts are being offered by Chabar Port Authority, Sistan Baluchistan Port Authority, and also by the Indian government at their end. Cargoes which are loaded at GNPT and Kandla for Chabar get discounts. And please believe me, tariffs at Chabar are lowest amongst the Iranian ports. Despite all this, Sistan Baluchistan Port Authority is further prepared to give you more discounts, more volume discounts if we regularly patronize the port. Port has got vast area, 70 hectares of backup area. Cranes have started to arrive. Productivity is not an issue at all. We are hungry to get more ships, and as soon as the ship comes, we discharge the cargo most expeditiously. Well, Excellency, Mr. Ali Chigni mentioned about the Chabar free zone. It is a massive free zone. 14,000 hectares of area, and different areas have been demarcated. Some are for heavy industry, other are for light industry, petrochemical industry. 100% capital and profit repatriation is allowed. There is exemption from income tax and corporate tax for 20 years. There is duty exemption on import of raw material and machinery. And all above, people are very friendly. The procedure to set up your company in free zone is very simple. Mr. Khordi, who's the chairman of Chabar Free Zone Authority, is a very nice person and very helpful. Well, gentlemen, this is the time to invest in Iran before it is too late. Happy days will return soon. Long live Iran-India friendship. Thank you. Khaile Mamnoon.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable feedback or on the to giving enlightenment on this topic. And thank you all of you for the healthy discussion. And now webinar is open for the question and answer. So if you have any questions, you can ask His Excellency and also on to our panelists. From audience also, like if any audience, you can ask any questions to our panelist or His Excellency. So the platform is open for you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
This is Manpreet Singh, President of Indian Chamber of International Business. First of all, a big thank you to the magazine for arranging this meeting. Very much enlightening and very much needed in today's times. Thank you so much. I would like to ask one question. Both the banks are here, UCO Bank and IDBI also. So what is the status of the rupee payment mechanism in current times?
Rupee payment mechanism, yes, it is happening actually. Whatever allocations are happening from Iran, both the banks are making the payments. But again, balances are coming down. So we are also trying to find alternate ways, like promoting non-oil imports is one way, and government also is possibly looking at mechanisms to bolster the rupee balances. That something may turn out. Actually, it's not very much in the open asset. Let us see. Actually, we are optimistic.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Now I would like to invite His Excellency for giving us in closing remarks to this webinar. Over to you, His Excellency.
And I will take this opportunity to Thanks again, Envoy Magazine and all the colleagues, audience, and thanks to especially to my dear colleague and brother Arun Kumar Gupta, the former director manager for the IPGL, for his best view regarding the tourism about Iran. Despite that he was a functionary in ports and shipping and connectivity. But I will tell to the friends that for the businessman to go to Iran, there is no limit to issue the visa for them, multiple visa. So this is a good opportunity for me to take this opportunity, tell that all the friends from the different chamber of commerce that they want to travel to Iran, despite the regulation that exists of this pandemic, still by having these protocols, we are facilitating for them. And I'm sure IDBI and Yoko Bank especially, they are helping them to cover their business. From Indian Embassy also, I'm sure my dear colleague, Ambassador Dharmendra also is very active and eager to promote the business relationship, despite also this problem that exists in all of the world, especially in India and Iran. But I'm sure business have very good horizon in very near future, as mentioned by Mr. Gupta. That will be a good opportunity. Please don't miss this opportunity. Otherwise, the rewards will come and the competitor will come. So this is a time to find out the opportunities, and opportunity won't remain forever.
Thank you, His Excellency, for your valuable feedback or giving us an opportunity here. And also thank all the panelists. And we hope maybe in near future, we will, like, since years we are associated with Embassy of Iran. So maybe in near future, we will like to strengthen our relations with the mission and to promote India-Iran relations. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And at the last, we invite you to connect to us our Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube channel where you find this webinar video. And you can also connect with our website where you can find this video, and also download Envoy Excellency mobile app. You can find the app from Play Store. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Namaskar. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.